Reality check for most immigrants when they come to Canada can be somehow discouraging. When expectation is weighed against reality, there's usually a huge divide between these two sides of the coin. Most times, employers will request for Canadian work experience. Other times, you not having a particular Canadian education might be what sets you apart from other people that have Canadian education here in Canada. A good number of immigrants end up spending up to 4 months, 6 months before they get a job that can bring money into their account. They find that the money they come into the country with is fast depleting. In today's video, I shall be talking about 15 starter jobs that new immigrants can consider getting into just to give them that head start before they finally get a job in their dream profession. Hi guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is IMUENTIYAN and I'm excited to have you back here again. If you're new here, I'm a Nigerian currently living in Thunder Bay as a permanent resident, formerly lived in Edmonton. On this channel, I talk about my life in Canada. I talk about life here in Canada also as a Christian, for I am a believer, and I also talk about daily living here in Canada. If this is something you're interested in, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be happy to have you join my tribe. Also, do not forget to like my videos to help me with the YouTube algorithm. So as I mentioned earlier, I'll be talking about 15 jobs that new immigrants can consider looking into. For some of them, they might just need to get something like a quick certificate, which is not hard to come by, or for others, if they do not require job experience, they do not require any education, and some of them pay a reasonable amount of money. The first one would be disability support worker and community support worker. This is like a 2-in-1. In my opinion, this is a fair job to consider. It doesn't really take much from you. It's basically working with individuals with disabilities of various levels and various sorts. For some employers, they might want you to have like a good number of years of experience. These two positions I mentioned have entry-level positions and they pay quite well. Some of them might pay up to $20, some others might pay up to $22, and sometimes you might not have worked with individuals with disability of some sort. So that is why I put it as my number one. For some others, they might need you to have like a bit of education, and the good thing about it is that there are some trainings you can do, like quick trainings for 1-day training or 1 week online trainings that you can just go, free courses on disability work or free courses on community support work, and you would get those trainings. They would come in handy. And for this job, because you will be working with vulnerable individuals, you would be required to have a police vulnerable sector check. You'll be required to have child and youth intervention check. You'll be required to have CPR, and they do not really need you to exert so much energy. Just to be with these individuals, teach socially accepted skills, and support inclusion, and all of those things. That's what these jobs require. That's why I put it as number one, because it's my top favorite. Pardon me if you hear any background noise. I tried to make this video as early as possible as I could, but I have my neighbor and her children around, so you might be hearing some noises like from time to time. Pardon me more. The second job would be educational assistant. This is also good. This job doesn't really require you to have for some places it requires you to have experience working with children, school age children. For other places it doesn't require you, as long as you're able to tailor your resume to meet the requirements for the job. It works, trust me. I know someone that came in newly. She didn't have prior experience working with children, and she just put her resume together, kind of tailored it to ensure that it suits the job requirements, and she got called for an interview, and guess what, she got the job of an educational assistant. But one thing you should know as regards the job of an educational assistant is that you should be ready to work outdoor with the children, like even especially during the winter, in like high weather conditions, -18, -20, because children are allowed to have recess outside up to -20, and you as an educational assistant would be required to be with them. So this is something you should bear in mind when considering going for a job like this. But it's a good one, and of course, because most times when you're doing this job, you're working for a provincial government, and imagine having experience working for a provincial government. It's really a good stepping stone. So it's something that new immigrants should consider if you have interest, if you think that, okay, this is something that's interesting and I can do it. The third job would be early childhood educators. For this one, employers will require you to have an experience. But the good news about this is that there are free courses available for people who are interested in going into early childhood education. Back in Edmonton, I know about two people that did this free course, and it was quite intensive. The fact that it's free doesn't mean that you do not have to put your attention. If you do not pass one stage, you cannot go on to the next. And once you're done with that, that enables you to get a job as as an early childhood educator. Of course, you still need to do CPR, and you still need to do police and vulnerable sector check, because of course you'll be working with individuals who are classified as vulnerable, which are, in this case, would be the children. So early childhood education or early childhood assistant is really a great job to consider. However, one thing you should know about this job is that most of the adverts I've seen, they kind of pay a little bit above minimum wage. Some pay minimum wage, others pay a little bit, probably $1 above minimum wage. And they would require long hours, like they might require you to work for like 9 hours or 8 hours 30 minutes or 8 hours thereabout. And unfortunately, if you're looking for flexible time to help you look into applying for jobs that you really want, that this might not really fit your schedule. So it's something that you should consider when considering taking up all of these jobs. Consider the flexibility of the job to enable you apply to jobs in the profession you want, or to enable you to maybe pursue a certification that would give you that extra advantage, because you do not want to settle for a very long time, right? The next one would be babysitting and respite care. This one is also quite simple, offering babysitting services, offering respite services to parents, to guardians who have children who have children basically, and also who have children with certain disability, and they need time to do one thing or the other. Being a respite worker or a babysitter would also come in handy. For this, you might need to undertake a training, maybe or maybe not, but you would need to also have CPR. CPR is very important here in Canada. You need to have CPR, and you also need to do a vulnerable sector check, because you're working with children who are considered to be vulnerable. And an interesting thing about respite work would be that some of these jobs pay up to $22, $23. Yes, I've seen some adverts on, because I went all through adverts on those jobs, and some of them pay up to $23 depending on the province again. So this is something that you can look into. Just check Indeed, go on Indeed and check the province you're going to, and see, probably go through all of these jobs, search for all of these jobs, and see what the pay is about. So guys, before we continue, I would want you to take some time to subscribe to my channel if you haven't. If you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please just take a few seconds, 1 second, just click on the subscribe button there. And you can also consider turning on the post notification bell so that you get notified when I post new videos. Thank you. So now let's continue. The fifth one on my list would be nurse aides and orderlies, otherwise known as support worker. For some provinces like Ontario, it's kind of easy to get into this job. They pay well, of course, like up to $25, $24. But for some other provinces like Alberta would require you to have an HCA certification or personal worker certification. It's not just like an empty certification, like a course, like a diploma course. Alberta will want you to have that, and would also want you to register with the HCA directory. They have a directory there in Alberta. It's not the same here. It's not the same thing in Ontario. I think it's not the same in Saskatchewan, and neither is it the same in I don't know about Manitoba. But some provinces are flexible with this, some other provinces are not. Another side to this is that you might get some organizations, like big organizations, that offer these services, that offer support care services to individuals. And what they do is that they take in people, they train them, like you go through their course, intensive course for like 1 year. You're working probably on a modified level, but you're also undergoing the course. However, they will charge you for the course. You'll be charged for that course monthly. They will collect it from your salary. Probably they'll pay you certain amount monthly and take certain amount for the course you're doing. At the end of your 1 year period, you'll be offered a certificate, and I think they might need you to work with them for like a period before you even consider leaving. And of course, HCA jobs, support worker jobs, nurse aides and orderlies, they pay quite well, but they are not jobs that, okay, I can do it, I can do it. For some people, they find that they cannot do this kind of jobs. Other people, it's okay for them to do it, but if it's not something, especially for some people that, especially for those that already have experience as healthcare workers, particularly those coming from the UK or from wherever you're coming from, if it's something you know you can do, look into it. They really pay quite reasonably well. Number 6 job on my list will be office administrator and clerk. For this, it's kind of like an easy job, and some of these jobs pay well, $20, 21, 22. And for some of these office administration jobs, you can get hired by provincial government. Imagine getting hired by provincial government. That's a good experience you would have on your CV. So these are jobs you can also look into. To require you to have great knowledge of IT, great knowledge of Microsoft Office suite, great knowledge of typing, and some clerk duties. Yes, basically, like if you've had work experience, these are things that you can easily do. So number 7 on my list would be data entry, more or less related to office administration, working with data and all of those things. Some of these data entry jobs, you can get them on a virtual level. So this is something you should also look into getting. The number 8 on my list, hey, is almost like the next most populous after support work jobs and probably disability support work. This would be customer service work. Customer service is quite funny because most people that have done this job, they can't wait to get out of it. But it's easy to get a customer service work. It's easy and it's not easy. But most customer service jobs are minimum wage. You get paid minimum wage, and of course you're mostly attending to aggrieved customers. For most of the time, you're talking to aggrieved customers. You're talking to customers that are angry. Yes, the job is widely available, but it also requires, I don't think it really requires long hours like that. It can be flexible. Sometimes you can get the one for 5 hours, sometimes you can get the one for 6 hours, but it's mostly minimum wage. Number 9 on my list will be security jobs. For this one, I heard they pay well. I heard security jobs pay well, way above minimum wage, like $20, $21. Yes, it will require you to do lots of standing, but it's not like the regular downplayed security jobs I know from my home country, Nigeria. Sorry, I'm talking more about Nigeria because that's where I have most experience, right? Yes, you might be required to have like a training. There are some organizations that offer this training, probably about $19 or $100. But I heard these security jobs pay well, and this is like a starting point, right? So yeah, this is something you should also consider and look into. And it's not only men that do the security jobs. I know one lady that did the security job when she and her family just landed in Canada. I think she's in either Edmonton or Calgary. I follow her on Instagram. Guess what? I think about 4 months later, she got a good job in her field, and she's currently like a senior manager in an IT company. So that is great we're talking about. The fact that you don't start from the level you hope to start with at the very beginning does not mean you will not get to that level someday. Just start small, because this is like a tricky culture or country to find yourself in, but you're coming from an entirely different place, and they're not sure if you have the experience working in their culture, in the Canadian work culture. So it might kind of be tricky, but just start from anywhere that you find yourself. And grace, like I believe, would always see one through. Number 10 on my list would be cashier jobs. This one, you can get them from grocery stores like Walmart, Superstore, and some other stores. Yeah, for some, you might not also get to work in cashier. You might just get to work like work in the grocery store, probably putting things in order, doing this, doing that. There are lots of jobs in all of these stores, so just look into that. So they also pay minimum wage, and it requires standing a lot, attending to clients, reaching out to people, solving probably challenges for people that come to grocery stores. And also, if you're working at the cashier, you need to be careful, right, so you don't get into trouble. And yeah, that's basically it for this job. I know one time I was listening to someone, and the person said that one thing you need to be careful about this kind of job is not settling. Yeah, you might find yourself getting comfortable with minimum wage, is bringing in money, at least you're able to cover some of the bills, and by the time you get home you're exhausted, you cannot apply to the jobs you would want to apply to, and before you know, you find yourself settling. So people usually advise that you take care and you do not settle for too long. Always remember the goal. The next on my list will be driving. I like this one. I don't know why I didn't put it as the top 5. I like this one because I'll usually tell people, and because I also heard from people, that get yourself prepared. If you have lots of experience driving from back home, bring your license with you. But if you have experience from back home, you come in, you have driving experience, all you just have to do is to work towards getting your license in whatever province you are in. Let me give you a practical example. One of my former colleagues, he had driving experience from back home, came here, did his G7 license, the learner's license in Nigeria, he did his learner's license in Canada, did that, took like some practice with his friend's car to know the roads and the routes in Edmonton, and went ahead to take the class 5 test. In Edmonton it's called class 5. Went ahead to, in Alberta rather, it's called class 5. Went ahead to take the class 5 test, and once he did that, about 2 months later, he had not at this time he had not even bought a car, but he already had his full class 5 license. He passed the test once, got his class 5 license, and 2 months later he went to take the knowledge test to enable him have the class 4 license. For the class 4 license, you don't have to do any road test. All you just need to do is to take the test to ensure, and take the knowledge test to ensure that you have knowledge of what is required of a class 4 license holder. He took that test and he passed it, and now he has, at the time I was living in Edmonton, he already had a class 4 license, and he didn't even have a car. Guess what? That class 4, with that class 4 license, he can drive commercial vehicles, he can drive buses. If I'm not wrong, I think he can also drive a truck. Even if you cannot drive a truck with a class 4 license, you just need to wait a while more for you to be able to probably get up to class 3 level, and you're able to drive a truck. Imagine bus drivers, they earn some decent amount of money, and you don't need any educational experience, just good driving history, good insurance history. That would help you, that would work for you. And according to what he told me, he was looking into going into that line of work. Also, truck drivers, you don't want to know how much those people make. Those people make some decent good amount of money, but of course it might require you to have some experience driving some truck, or maybe a bit of certification or something. But see those people that drive from Lagos to Benin, that's a good experience. That's more than driving truck. So this is something you should consider probably before you land. Just plan yourself, just plan whatever area you want to go to. I also have a colleague here in the program I'm pursuing that got a job with the Ontario government in Toronto as a bus driver. However, he started with them, but he wanted to come pursue the program, like pursue a short program here and then he had to leave the job to come here. And it was basically the same thing he did, because guess what, he started all the way from Edmonton, and in Edmonton I think he said he had class 4, came to Ontario, transferred that to Ontario license, and he was able to get that job as a bus driver in Toronto. Guys, the number 12 job on my list would be general labor. This would be construction workers, working with road construction, working with bridge construction, and it pays quite well. Yes, even during extreme weather, you might find yourself working out. Imagine working out in the cold early morning to the evening. When it's hot, you're covered, but you're still working out in the cold. But they pay some good money in construction work, and in Canada they always have construction going on, particularly in Edmonton. Hey, there's always construction going, always construction going on, road development, this, that. So it's something that you can look into. The number 13th job on my list would be seasonal jobs. This one is one shocking job that I never thought would pay well, but the pay well. Gardening, city, taking care of the flowers in the city, taking care of particular environments in the city, going around to do some city work and all of those things. These people are majorly employed by provincial government or by city government of cities that you'll be living in. I know a lady that was doing this job, but hers was for the summer period, and once summer was over, you either apply to the winter season job, or probably you rest to the next summer. So it's something like that, and they pay quite well. The number 14 on my list would be waiter jobs, working in restaurants and doing waiter waitress services, offering waiter waitress services. These jobs pay minimum wage, but of course for some people they get tips from patrons, and that's how they make up some extra money. So this is, if it's something, probably if you're young and it's something you want to consider, this is something you can look into. I just decided to chip it in, and this brings me to the 15th job on my list. This one is quite interesting for me. This would be starting your own business in the form of cleaning. Let me tell you something. So before I left Edmonton, where I worked before, I was discussing with some of my colleagues, and two of them had done this before. In fact, they just stopped because they just said, okay, they should focus on other things. One of them was still doing it. It's about cleaning, offering cleaning services for people. And you know what? They don't do it alone. They get a contract, they get some people, go to this place, do the job, a thorough job, and then they get paid. They share the amount. Of course, they must have planned with these people how much they will pay them. One of them at that time used to have lots of contracts. So you can imagine, you can start it on your own. Someone needs thorough cleaning of their house. As long as you do a good job, before you know, word of mouth just keeps flying. Before you know, they keep calling you, coming. Even organizations also call people to come do cleaning for them. So you can just start off your own and post this information on Facebook Marketplace or whatever site is available in your country, in your province, on TikTok, and before you know, you start getting referrals. And one thing I want to say is that just pray for grace and do not settle. It is not easy, trust me. I remember when before I decided to come pursue this program I'm currently doing, I had not wanted to come at all because I was already doing well. I was earning a decent amount of money, and I had ability to. I was just like, probably I might just get a second job that I might be doing on a part-time basis just to get extra income that would help me boost my income. This is okay, just take it. But again, thank God for the advice I got from people. They were like, this is not just for the present. Think about the future. Like 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, when you are no longer young like you are now, what do you want to do? Consider the long-term plan, consider your long-term goals. Thank you so much guys for watching my video. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. It will really do me a whole lot of good when you subscribe to my channel, and also like this video to help me with YouTube algorithm. And until the next time, bye bye.